What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zebec today, ZBCN. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, you guys. It is the 27th day of September, and here we are sitting at about $0.0037 right now. Coming down a little bit this week, right? It's definitely a bearish look on the week here. But before we get into the price action, I want to go over some good news, some not really that interesting news, but something that's good, I suppose, right? Is that Zebec is featured in an in-depth piece on UK stablecoin policy by The Independent, one of the UK's leading newspapers. Yes, yeah, that's you can read it if you want to. Go to Zebec Network or just type in ZBCN The Independent on Google or something like that, and it'll probably come up. Anyways, ZBCN I very much do believe is going to grow, and I think that things like this, getting attention and being named, that definitely helps spread the word. But at the moment, I do believe we're going to see some lower prices come in line here. I think that we are going to drop a little bit lower, and that's not just ZBCN specifically. That's really the whole crypto market as a whole. So, looking at this here on the daily time frame, we have about 9 hours 45 minutes left in the day. Yesterday was a little bit of a relief rally, but it looks like we're going to probably come back down. Yes, I said a little bit of a relief rally. It wasn't a relief rally at all. It was just a breath of fresh air. It is the weekend. It is Saturday. We're probably going to be boring today. We're probably going to be boring tomorrow, Sunday as well. And then Monday, kicking up on the 29th there, we should be making some headway one way or another. If we if we do move up from here, I wouldn't expect that we move up too high. I'd be very surprised if we went above this high at all. But I wouldn't be surprised if we had some kind of like head fake, right? We pump up and then we come back down. But don't anticipate that, right? If you're looking to make a quick trade, don't buy here and then expect to sell there. I would think, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I would think that we do have a date with destiny down at about 0.0033 to 0.003 itself, something in that area there. I think it's 0.0033 to 0.0031, something in that zone. If we're looking at this from a relative low to a high, 0.0033 to 0.00309. So right there in that area. The golden ratio, hitting the 236, finding resistance like this, and then grinding the 0.5 really does make me think that we're going to go down here. Could you go lower? Sure. You could go down to the 786 or 886. It's very possible, but I doubt that you're going to do that. I would very much think that you find support at the golden ratio. If we're looking at this with our handy-dandy indicators, the RSI does look bearish. I hope it's obvious as to why, right? Getting oversold, or I guess getting toward the oversold zone, bouncing off it, rejecting the 60, spending most of your time below the 50 is not a good look right here. Bouncing off the 40 and then coming back down still. Bouncing off the 40 is a good thing. You want to do that. Hey, look, that was good last time. Hey, look, that was good here. You're getting weaker results though. That's not that good. It's good to bounce off the 40. We have to bounce. You can't just stall right here. That's not a good look. And then living below the 50 as well. Stochastics are crossed down, getting oversold. Can't get overbought. You're getting oversold, bouncing off, still staying oversold without getting overbought. That's not a good look. And then the MACD looks like it's rejecting the zero. Looks like it's coming down. I think all three of these indicators are bearish, which line up very well with the idea that the price is likely to go lower over the coming days. I would suspect that by the end of this month that we're at lower prices, but maybe the low is going to come in like the first week of October, something like that. I have a feeling October is going to start off kind of like, imagine September, right? In the beginning of September and the ending days of August, most people were saying things like September is going to be a bloodbath. September is always the red month. It's the most likely month to be red. Reality is it's not normally a bloodbath. It's normally a very neutral month. It opens and closes very neutral, which looks like we're getting that this month as well. It's not going to be green though. I'll be wrong about that because I did think that we'd close green, and I thought that we'd close even above 8%, but looking like we're not going to do that, which is fine. I had the last two Septembers right in a row. I'm wrong on this one, so next September we're going to try and make it right. October though, getting over my ego. October might start off the same way, but to the opposite effect, because September was expected to be red, so we started moving up from day one in September. The whole market was moving up, and now we're coming back down. October is expected to be green, so might we move down at first, and then we move up going into the end? I would think that's probably what's going to happen. We'll likely find our low in October. I'm thinking the first week of October. We're very near the point in time and price at which we'll find our low, and then from that point in time, we can start growing, start making our way back up, right? Find support at whatever area that is, 0.0033 to 0.00309. Slowly meander our way back up, and once we get above these highs, that's whenever we'll start to rip. That's when we'll start to rally. I don't expect that when you find your low, they're just going to rip from there. Maybe you get a nice bounce, but again, you might consolidate a little bit. You might meander, right? That's typically what you do. And then once you're in breakout territory, when you're actually breaking out, that's when you make these swift movements that don't stop, right? Or at least they don't stop for quite some time, quite some price, right? Here, kind of meandered a little bit, up, down, up, chilling for a little bit, and then you blast it off. I would expect we're going to do the same thing, a very similar thing. Once we find support at our area, you'll probably have a nice reaction. Find support at prior areas of support, find resistance at prior areas of resistance, stair step your way, and then once you get above those highs there, we should really see this thing take off. I think going into the end of October, we should really have a fantastic time. But long before the end of October, probably in the first half of October, we should find our low. I would anticipate that that's what we do. We'll go over where I think we're going, but by this point, I'm sure most of you already know that we're going to go to like 2 to 4.5 cents. That's the next target area. We'll go over why I think that's happening. But first, I want to look at the short-term stuff. It's pretty cool, man. I mean, ZBCN is only at a, what is it, 400 million, $344 million market cap. Pretty low market cap. Getting featured in the Independent. It's not like a big deal. That's not groundbreaking. This doesn't mean this is the one, but just still pretty cool. There's a ton of large cryptos that could have been featured in this, and they featured ZBCN, so that's pretty awesome. Attention is good. Attention is good in this world. The RSI is volatile. You're at a point to bounce here, I suppose. 39 minutes left. Let's see if this 1 hour time frame closes green. If you do bounce here, again, keep in mind, we could see some kind of miracle pump like we did back here on the 22nd, 23rd there. But I wouldn't be wooed by it. Even if we go up to 0.0044, I wouldn't be too impressed by that, right? 0.0047, don't be impressed. Don't be impressed till we get daily closes up there, right? Stochastics look a little bit postured to be bullish, kind of bearish at the same time. MACD looks bearish, but we're not going to weigh on that too much because it's the 1 hour. I don't know. It's the weekend, so I doubt that you break out now. So if you do go lower, it's not going to be by much. You'll probably move up going into the end of the day and into Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if you got above these highs, if you got above 004, maybe by the end of this week, if not early next week on Monday. But I would expect that you come back down sometime starting early next week as well. 4 hour time frame here. The 4 hour RSI does look bearish. Yes, very bearish. Very volatile, oversold, overbought down here, but just living below the 50 predominantly. That's what makes it bearish. You do have higher lows, which is nice. You've got higher lows here, in which you could find support. And I mean, that would make sense with the 1 hour. Yeah, you might find support here, but just momentarily, nothing crazy, right? Again, a move like this, maybe less dramatic, maybe more dramatic, but a move like that, and then you'll probably move back down. Stochastics rejecting the overbought zone. The MACD turning red, but you got 1 hour, 37 minutes left. You look like you want to come up. Let's see how it does. I think you do move up from here, but just a little bit, right? And then back out to the daily. Let's go out to the weekly here. Weekly time frame. What I don't like is that you're starting to falter with this upward sloping trend, right? Higher lows have been maintained really throughout your whole life. Now you've broken through this. It's not really the best look. You are at the 50 where you found support before. Sometimes, and oftentimes enough actually, in bullish situations, you will break out of your uptrend because the RSI can't continue to trend higher forever. It stops at the 100, right? You can't go above that. So then you'll break out of it and you'll actually go sideways and you'll kind of do stuff like this. But typically in those moments, you either find support at the 50 or you're very short-lived below the 50. So any kind of readings here that go below the 50, ideally it would be like 1 week. 1 week like this, right? Below the 50 and then up. 2 weeks and then up, right? You don't want to spend too much time below the 50. When you're bearish, same thing. Up above the 50, but not too much time, then you get back below it. So we're looking for something like that. Doesn't mean that we have to. Perhaps we close here this week. Next week we reach down, but then we close green. Anything can happen, but I would assume some kind of drop is happening just because of this breakout alone. And again, what we're looking for is a very short-lived experience down here. And if we do get down here, which I think we will, that would imply that next week we'll probably close red as well. Okay? Probably. Or we could bounce here. Bouncing off the 50 is a great thing. It's very possible, but at this point in time, I wouldn't put it past us if we did close next week red. Time will tell. Stochastics rejecting the 50. That's not looking good either. Typically, especially on the weekly time frame, you would expect that this gets oversold before you show any kind of bullish implications at all. And the MACD overall is just super bullish, so I don't have any problems with that. Looking at the chart, looking at the price, I think it's very obvious that we are in a very bullish phase of consolidation, right? Sitting at the top here, we've got this symmetrical triangle playing out, and I think that it's going to probably come down something like this, right? In line with this high, that closing high there, these points of resistance and support here. I bet that we come down right there over the next couple of weeks or so, and that's right there at the base of our range, 0.00309. Find support there. Get ready to break out. I don't think that we're gonna go into the end of this year consolidating in this range, but at the worst case scenario, I guess that's possible, and then we rally. But I would think by the end of October, we're seeing new all-time highs. And again, the reason why we think we're going to 2 cents to 4.5 cents is we take this all-time high to the low of this consolidation phase. That would be somewhere, our target areas intended would be 2 cents at the 1886, 4.5 cents at the 2618. The reason why I think we're going to go here is because this is our secondary target zone. The 1886 to 2618 is the secondary zone. The primary zone is the 1618 to the 1272. Now, if this was a short-lived kind of dip here and then you moved up immediately, I would think it's more likely that we stop here. But the fact that you've consolidated now since May, I think that you've got a little bit more oomph to go, right? If we look at this from a relative high to a low here, you went all the way up to your 1886-200 there as well, okay? I think that you're going to see something on the lines of a secondary target zone, which is the 1886 to the 2618. And I personally believe, with the fact that you saw a 10x move in about 5 weeks' time on this last movement here, I think that you'd see something that's at least comparable to that, right? Something on the lines of maybe a 5x move here. At the most, that'd be like a 12x move there. I don't think that we stop at 4.5 cents. I don't think that we stop at 2 cents. I really do believe that we hit 3 cents or higher, something in that area, but time will tell. Something that's a bit of a reciprocated move from here, right? This is your accumulative zone. This was your first move of what I believe to be a 5-legged move overall. With 5 legs, typically you have one wave here. This is your second leg right here, right? Your consolidation phase. You have your third leg, and you'll have fourth leg will be another consolidation phase, and your fifth leg. It'll be a 5-wave impulsive count. Typically, the third leg is the biggest leg, typically. If not the third, then the fifth. It's very rare to have the first leg being the biggest leg. So time will tell. We'll see how it goes. I got nothing else. And actually, on that note, in itself, the fact that the third leg is typically the biggest leg, I think that's a solid argument to be made that we could see 4.5 cents or even higher by the end of this next move. When will this next move be completed? I don't know. Sometime in the end of October, maybe the beginning of November. It could take until the end of the year, but regardless of when it happens, I would assume that we have one more move up past that, and I think that would take us all the way up to prices that are at like anything from 14 cents, 44 cents. Could we go to $1? I don't know. That'd be a multi-100x, wouldn't it? I think we could. You've got a low enough market cap. It could happen, but that's pushing the barrier, right? $1's kind of pushing the barrier there. That's pushing the envelope. You see this high to low here. Right there at the 4618, though. I think anything from 22 cents or higher should be considered whenever it comes to the all-time highs for ZBCN. But I really went off on a whole tangent there talking about we took the longer term stuff and we kept stretching it. And now here we are at cycle highs. So anything from 21 cents to $1.06, I suppose, by the end of the cycle is very possible. Maybe not. Maybe not $1.06. That's a 300x. No, I'm sorry, guys. I don't think that we see $1. I mean, maybe. You're really pushing the envelope, though. It's rare that cryptos see that high of a valuation in their first bull market. Typically, you don't. Typically, you see something on the lines that's like half that. So maybe something closer to these fibs here. There's a couple right there at 44 cents. I could see that happening. 21 cents or more for sure by the end of the cycle. That's what I would expect. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Sorry I trailed off at the end there a little bit. Take care. Bye-bye.